February 5th already, and this is the first book. It's all right. I think February is going to end big because the library sale is coming up on the 28th. What? I don't know, right? So this came in the mail from an eBay purchase by me. You know, I've been collecting these Robert E. Howard books from Zebra, right? It says Conan, right? Very first thing on the top. But these are not Conan books. He is actually says first time in paperback by the author of Conan, Robert E. Howard. This is called The Sowers of the Thunder. It is a collection of what I imagine are actually just sort of his adventure stories, right? Fleeting glimpses of marching men in grim armor, etc., etc. Very glary as the sun weirdly comes out in the middle of a brief Seattle area snowpocalypse that's caused a great deal of stress. Don't get me started. And the back cover is really cool. Great, I guess wrap cover, but I got to be careful because there are some condition issues, right? This came to me at, this is not blaming the eBay seller at all. This came to me in the expected condition, which is really all you ask for from an eBay seller. But very groovy. First printing March 1973. These are all stories from the 30s, like the early 30s. Pulp magazine era stuff. And there's illustrations really throughout, which is cool. And it really looks to me, I would bet good money that these were the original illustrations from old pulp magazines. They certainly look like it. Lots of little kind of spot illustrations here. Looks like maybe stuff that came from other things. Who knows? Oh, it's just getting worse, the binding. Oh, it's broken. There's problems. Okay. So let's talk about the problems. Here's a great illustration and the problem. It is coming unglued. Right? You can see that gap there. And it looks like kind of two sections are in danger of coming out completely. This last one here, very last few pages. Oh, can we see? Yeah, it's kind of hanging on by dear life. This is a fixable thing. This is not an end of the world problem at all. It happens. There's some other condition issues which are interesting. This came from the printer like this, right? See how it's white? There's a white strip on the bottom there. At first, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it looks like the whole cover is coming off. It almost kind of is, but it's not. That was actually printed wrong. See how this title is coming, or it was trimmed wrong. Bound wrong, trimmed wrong, is right at the very top. The back cover text right at the very top, and then they didn't do much of a bleed line, right? Bleed line means a little bit more of the green around the edges, so that if it isn't exactly trimmed properly, you don't get that white strip. So this was just a bindery issue that Zebra, I guess, in 1973 was like, I'm not pulping those. I'm not paying to pulp those and redo it. I don't know. Maybe they got a credit on the next one from the printer. Oh, come on, look at that. Because I've been messing with it, that last batch of pages just came right out. I will fix this with some glue. It is not the end of the world. I'm just, collecting solely. These are not the easiest books in the world to find, right? From Zebra Books, early 70s, Robert E. Howard, February 2025 begins. The February 2025 book haul continues. It is February 10th of 2025, and I had to run to the library. Had some business to do there, some stuff to pick up. As always, I stopped by this little sale thing, and there was some new stuff in there that was super groovy. I actually donated a book there too. I had a book that this Perry Mason book that I read that I thought was kind of fun. I don't think I'm going to read anymore, but somebody might think this is really cool. So I dropped it off there. And then I bought some more $1 paperbacks, starting with 84 Charing Cross Road by Helena Hanf. Heard about this. It's another one of those, you hear about these books. Yes. It is the beloved classic, a 20-year correspondence between an American writer and a British bookseller. What could be bad about that as a book nerd? An epistolary novel, which is, put together as a series of letters. Just looks like it looks good. Everybody, it says the San Francisco Examiner says it's a unique throat-lumping, side-splitting treasure. Like the San Francisco Examiner is going to lie. I don't know. It just looks good, and I've heard good things about it, and it might take me as much as an hour to read it. Come on. Who doesn't love the skinny little, heartfelt literary gem, 84 Charing Cross Road? There's obviously a 40K fan in the neighborhood who just was like, enough of these already. I don't know what happened there. How these show up, we don't know. Kapow, look at this chunk. Let the galaxy burn. What says Warhammer 40,000 more than that quote, right? Let the galaxy burn. Look at the size of this bad boy. This is a collection of short stories that drawn from the many and many years of Warhammer 40,000 fiction. And, just all the usual suspects in here from that great stable of 40K authors. And really, just a lot of material in here. Look how tightly packed these pages are. This is just a gigantic chunk of Warhammer 40K goodness. Bloody tales of heroism from the grim future of Warhammer 40,000. Grim indeed, yeah. These dog-earing things in here, right? It happens, you do it, so that's all right. This is a very thick book. We're going to just do that, and then that'll get pressed out over the rest of the years. I'm very excited to see this, right? Edited by Mark Gasquion and Christian Dunn, who was the editor that I worked with in my one little tip of my toe into the Black Library universe. I wrote a story called The City Is Theirs in the Warhammer Fantasy Collection, Anthology Age of Legend, edited by Christian Dunn. I was very proud of the story. I think it really came out well. I was just really excited to be a part of this whole world that, I was just seeing as a fan. This was, after the end of my days at Wizards of the Coast, kind of tipped in there. Really fun. The story's still out there in the world. I'll find a link for it. Maybe you can find it. Whatever. Then the rest. There's more. Somebody just put 4 Horus Heresy books right up on there on the shelf, and I was like, yeah, gotta do it. How have I never read the Horus Heresy books? I've wanted to. I kind of understand the story, how it affected the Warhammer 40K universe, etc. And I was like, well, I have to buy these for $1 each, because what the hell, right? And then I got home and I looked it up, because I was like, this is a long series, right? I think there were like a lot of these. And when I thought a lot of these, I was like, there might be like 10, 15, 20. There's 54. So then all of a sudden I was terrified. I can't do another 54. I can't do a 54 book series. But then I thought, I don't remember these being something you had to read in order. Like, you will have no idea what's going on unless you have read 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. Turns out that I was mostly right. The first trilogy is a trilogy, the first 3 books. And after that, then they are just stories set against the backdrop of the Horus Heresy. So that's really good news for me, because I can dive in and read these books without having to collect the massive thing and read them in order and sort of adopt that lifestyle, right? So these are the 4 that I got that were just the ones that happened to be there. Galaxy in Flames. Now this is book 3 of that, or the 3rd book, right? So this is book 3 in that initial trilogy that clearly we are asked to read in order. This is not the end of the world. The first two books are still in print. Really easy to just, go out and find those. And I will. They are on my list. So I'm going to set this one aside, and with the rest of the sort of, I'm collecting the trilogy, I'm collecting the shorter series and stuff of other books. I will find those other two and I will read those. And then the other three, this is Galaxy in Flames by Ben Counter, The Heresy Revealed. Who doesn't love this 40K artwork? The whole aesthetic is just super cool. And I am not, like, in general, a military sci-fi guy in general, but these are just, I don't know. I just loved it. I played 40K. I still have my Orc army. It's been ages. Oh my God, it's been how many editions ago? I don't know, but still love it, right? Still love the universe, everything about it. So I will find the first two books and read this as a trilogy. And then the other three are going to go into the big giant stack of random things. I'm not going to flip them, even though some of these out there are demanding $150 on eBay. I'm not a book flipper. I'm not a bookseller. I have a little eBay store. It's been ages since anyone's bought anything from there. I don't even make a living. I don't make a living from my eBay store. I don't make enough money from any of the books I sell. Maybe one or two that happen to be really crazy valuable for some reason. I don't make enough money to justify the time spent doing the listing and the shipping and stuff like that. So this is, my eBay store is, it's like, it would be fun to kind of get these books out to somebody who cares. It's not a profit center for me. So anyway, this is going to go in the big random thing. I intend to read this because I buy books because I intend to read them. Right. So here we go. This is Michael Scanlon's Descent of Angels, Loyalty and Honor, the Horus Heresy, the latest installment in the best-selling series. Beautifully done, right? Dark, appropriately dark, kind of design sensibility there. The always fantastic art. The Black Library has always done a terrific job of a uniform trade dress. So if they have a series, they lock into what that series looks like on the shelf. I love and adore and support that. Descent of Angels. Terrific. And I flipped through these all and I looked, and these are all first printing paperbacks. 2007. Special thanks to Graham McNeil. Sure I'm getting that. Is that focusing? It's not, whatever. It is the first printing mass market paperback. This one also had a dog ear in it. Let's see if we can fix that over time. Right? The next installment. And then there's another one that I'm seeing listings for $100 to $150 on. I paid $1. Legion. I had written these down somewhere. This is book number 7. That last one, Descent of Angels, was the sixth book. So I have 3, 6, 7, and 8 here. This is number 7, Legion. Dan Abnett himself. Oh, borders. We hardly knew ye. I love finding a border sticker on the back of things. I leave them there just for old time's sake. I just was a Borders fan. Again, right? The perfectly uniform trade dress, exactly of a series, and just the morose, dark, right? Grim future of Warhammer 40,000, Legion, by Dan Abnett. I said his name right. Another one that might catch $50 on eBay, don't care. Ben Counter again, Battle for the Abyss, My Brother, My Enemy, action, illustration, right? And I'm just going to keep repeating, the perfectly uniform. Trade dress that says this is the series, you want all of this. Nicely rendered gold foil, see that shine on black. Just very, very well done. Likewise, also First printing for this one. Yes, indeed, 2008. Um, it's not that old, right? It's definitely discolored. This was, somewhere, I don't know. It's definitely showing some age there, but otherwise, the spine is in great shape. All four of them were really in terrific shape. They just clearly, age this newsprint paper and stuff doesn't really survive well. But anyway, there it is. 4 books in the Horus Heresy series from Black Library, Warhammer 40,000, and then that big, gigantic short story collection, which is super cool, and 84 Charing Cross Road. This has been February 10th of 2025, and the books, they be a haulin'. Kind of a weird camera angle I don't know about. Is this de-aging me? Do I need what gets rid of that? I heard Preparation H or Botox. Or do I just, from now on I'm just gonna, no, that looks like I'm doing something else that I'm not gonna do. February book haul continues, and it is Tuesday, February 11th of 2025, and the Amazon man was here. All right, so this one was a pre-order. Very excited. I'm very excited, and look at this. The box is here. Look at the address. Don't be weird. My house and stuff. What are you doing? God, I don't have to do that. Is this an unboxing video? Is that what I'm doing right now? Or am I actually doing an unboxing video? One of these things. So, this is book 5 in the series. And the other one's got here intact, which Amazon has been not good lately. I bet that's really loud and obnoxious right next to the microphone, hey? It's going to be worth it, because here we go. Oh, it looks pretty good. It looks good. The publisher shrink wraps these. Publisher being Dark Horse Comics. This is Den by Richard Corbin. This is number 5 in the series of great collections of these crazy weird old sci-fi comics. What was this called? This is The Price of Memories, book 5. So I pre-ordered this like months ago, when I don't even remember, and then I saw, what's this charge? Who's this from Amazon? And then I saw it said, it's shipping. We'll get rid of the shrink wrap, put that where that goes, into the garbage can. Right? No, it looks good. It looks good. I don't know how much of this I can show you because, trigger warning boobies and other things, and other parts of people. This is one of those things, right, Dan? Richard Corbin, one of the greatest, weirdest, kind of really messed up. Yeah, there's like almost no pages that I can turn this around on. Are we going to be okay here if we do stuff like this? Yeah. Just beautifully painted art. Super strange. From that, great, flawed, everything is flawed, right? Era of Heavy Metal magazine from back in the day, which maybe you just have to be exactly my generation to be just like, no, this is important. Like, this is important comic book stuff. And Richard Corbin, just one of the all-time greats, honestly. Right? What can I show here? Oh, look at monsters and stuff. Oh, my Lord. So this is number 5, and I have been collecting these. I think I bought the first 2 after they were already out, and then just started pre-ordering like a madman until I got them all. And this is it. I didn't see any more on sale at Amazon. I believe this is the end, right? That there's 5 books. This is book 1, called Neverwhere. Beautifully done by Dark Horse, too. These are hardcovers in dust jackets with this gorgeous, inside, right? The gorgeous paper over board, full art. covers. I mean, these would look terrific without the dust jackets. I'm keeping everything intact, and I'm keeping them nice, and I'm keeping them on a shelf where they belong, and I'm going to do that so that doesn't get hurt. And number 2 was, how do you pronounce that? Movovum. I haven't started reading these yet. I was like, I'm going to read them when I have all of them, and then I can just do like some kind of crazy den binge. And the time is almost there. I got to finish Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth. We know that we're working on that. There's only 2 volumes of that. This might be the next one. Should really be the next one. Book 3 was Children of Fire. Of the 5, that's not my favorite cover, but again, it's just gorgeous. I mean, everything, the end papers, 4-color end papers, just a beautiful, beautiful presentation. Dark Horse. Dark Horse, you know, when they decide they're going to do their thing, they do their thing. Number 4 is Dreams and Alarms. Likewise, it's beautiful. This is the thickest one. This is heavy. And that's the thing, right? With really good paper to take that 4/4 printing, these things are just a chunk to carry around because they're well-made books. Dynamite. So that's it. I have now the complete set of these great den collections from Dark Horse. All 5 of them. Number 5 came to me today, February 11th, 2005. Good book month so far, yeah? Let's see. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this thing going. Okay, so February 2025 book haul continues. These are books that came in on February 13th, 2025. They all came in at once, or at least I kind of, I don't get to the mailbox down the street every single day, but whatever. They came into my possession on the 13th. Let's look at these. So I have not yet read. I've read lots of other Ian Banks books. Definitely love Ian Banks. I've been collecting all of the culture novels, and it's sort of finding them when I find them. And I ended up getting the American Orbit editions, right? Bigger trade paperbacks. I thought that's what I was buying from this eBay seller. Not in any way blaming the eBay seller. This was me not doing my research well. And you will see that this book don't fit. It don't fit. The book don't fit. It's too small. This is the UK, I think they call it a B format paperback. It's a wee little thing. Ooh, look at that. This guy's a groovy, kind of octopus guy. So you've heard me. Gotcha. It says with a Avon. So this is a state of the art. I don't know. So you've seen me before talk about when I collect books for a series. And most of the time, I don't really care about the editions, right? Like I collected all of or I'm still got a few that I haven't gotten yet, Pip and Flink's books by Alan Dean Foster that I've been reading. They're kind of different editions at different times. If you go back to my Conan video, which you got to watch because it was a cool video, you'll see that I've got those sort of that first series of 12 paperbacks from back in the day in different editions, even from different publishers. And I'm cool with that. But every once in a while, I'm kind of like, I've got this many. I want it to be this. What do I do? Because I paid like a little bit of money for this. It's, just a sort of standard used paperback kind of condition. This is the UK edition, not for sale in the USA because Orbit had the bigger trim size going on. Do I pass this along back out into the world and then do the research necessary to find the US Orbit edition? Oh, I'm really not sure what to do. Do I just at this point give up and say, well, listen, we're going to go with these Orbit books, and if they're UK, US, doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. But then there's the collector side of me is saying, no, man, you gotta move this one on and then find the bigger trim size edition. And the things we do for books. On that same note, for reasons unknown, but except for these weird little things that happened in my brain, I have made the decision some years ago to collect all of the Tarzan books by Edgar Rice Burroughs, only in these groovy, very old Grosset and Dunlap, kind of editions for kids. And I have a bunch. I have had other older Tarzan paperbacks, some of which were published by him. He started publishing his own books for a while there, and by other publishers in really wildly different editions. Finally, I kind of got rid of all those. I still have a couple up on eBay, and just decided I'm going to go with these, right? And partly it's a nostalgia thing, because when I first discovered Edgar Rice Burroughs, obviously I knew he was the creator of Tarzan. I discovered Princess of Mars at my local library when I was a kid. Oh, we'll work on some condition issues, which we'll talk about in a minute. It was exactly in these editions, right? And it just feels like this is, for me, it's just an individual thing. I know it's gross and weird to smell books on TV, but it's kind of, this is what Edgar Rice Burroughs looks and feels and smells like. So I'm just doing that because it's fun, and I'm not spending jillions of dollars. This was not expensive. And you can see the condition is no dust jacket. None of the books that I have a dust jacket. I mean, none of the, these Tarzan books that I have a dust jacket. Pretty radically faded spine. Why do I always struggle saying faded spine? But you can see the difference, right? This is the color of the book. The spine was the same color. The sun has had its way with this book over the many, many, many years. And these Grosset and Dunlap paperbacks, one thing that they were terrible at, the publisher that is actually telling you what edition this was. They just simply do not. So what we have here is a copyright of 1920, right? That's the original copyright. That doesn't tell us necessarily when this book was published. I've read online several places where even really like antiquarian book dealers have a lot of trouble dating these. Usually they're dated by, what does the title page look like? Is there a sort of glossy paper frontispiece illustration, which this does not have? I think those tended to be the earlier ones. All right, Phil from the future here, pardon the shakiness of this video, popping in on this copy of Tarzan the Untamed, where you will see here, which I didn't notice before, this book, while produced under wartime conditions and full compliance with government regulations for the conservation of paper and other essential materials, is complete and unabridged. So I'm looking also up at Internet Speculative Fiction Database, that's isfdb.org, which you just should have bookmarked, that there was a Grosset and Dunlap edition of this published in 1943 for the cover price of 50 cents. There was a dust jacket with a painting by the artist J. Allen St. John. So this is the 1943 edition, so it looks like this was probably a Christmas gift in 1945, produced under wartime conditions. Someone received this. Oh, no, this is interesting. It looks like 1965 or 45. I honestly can't tell. The handwriting of Aunt Framis over here was not that great. But Christmas, is that 1945? Is that 1955? But that would date it there anyway, right? This was given to a kid as a Christmas present on that year, it was probably a new book, right? Anyway, Tarzan the Untamed by Edgar Rice Burroughs. I bought from eBay. The photos were good. I knew that the condition was going to be rough. The condition is indeed rough. Can this be repaired? In this case, things like this where the spine is really coming apart. I will do my best to at least work on gluing that back together. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to like rebind all of these books or anything like that. I'm not worried about the condition so much as long as all the text is intact. It certainly appears to be. The pages are terribly overfoxed. I mean, super yellow. But again, these were books. This publisher wasn't like, this isn't Taschen over here, guys. This is like, right? They were just making mass market books, basically. So cheap paper, cheap binding, just get it out there for the kids. And this one looks like it was well loved, well read, and shelved in direct sunlight. Tarzan the Untamed. That collection will continue, just kind of as I find them and stuff. So what was it, a couple, 2-3 years ago, I made the decision, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start subscribing every once in a while to literary magazines to support that, right? As a former publisher of a literary magazine myself, way back in the day, an author who sends out poetry and short stories to these little magazines, you got to feel like you're supporting those too, right? So I did that. I think I overdid it, right? Instead of, I think what you could do if you're not independently wealthy, right? Just to really have some kind of huge budget, which I don't have. Just kind of like subscribe to one for a year, let that run out, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. So at least you're sort of spreading your subscription dollars out there. Instead, I kind of set it up as like a random thing that would show up on my calendar like, okay, subscribe to a literary magazine, and so I would, and they all piled up. So now I have this shelf of unread literary magazines that have largely stopped coming in because I stopped doing that. Kind of thought at this point I do want to read them, so now I've got this giant backlog. It's so hard, been so hard to get a lot of time to read. I'm reading a lot of other stuff and so on. But anyway, so in the mailbox was A Public Space. This is one that I really like. I think they just do a tremendous job. The writing is generally really good, very subtle in their design sensibility. It pretty much looks exactly the same, different color scheme. This is issue number 32, just arrived in the mail on February 13th of 2025. And it's just really interesting. It's got, art inside, photography and stuff, and just really, really good short fiction and poetry. So looking forward to having this in the giant. Now all he has to do is read it, right? But again, I don't buy stuff I don't intend to read. When do I get to it? As soon as humanly possible. A Public Space recommended if you have the dollars to spend and if you love good short fiction and poetry, this is a place to find that. That has been the February 2025 book haul. For the 13th, there's more to come, and we're still looking forward to the 28th and the big library sale. We keep hauling these books. In February, what is today, the 19th? I don't know what it is. February 19th of 2025. Actually arrived in the mail yesterday, the 18th, but didn't get down to the mailbox because I got stuff going on. I've been concentrating my book buying on collections, right? And there are still some, and I was surprised to see how few Ace Doubles preview that I still need. Found this one out there on eBay, not in good condition. It is in the condition that it was promised, right? The photographed and described condition, and I did not pay a lot for this. I could have paid more. I decided not to. I just want to have every book. I want them to be in readable condition. This is in readable condition. What is this exactly, right? Well, I mean, pick a side, any side. God, I just love these ace doubles. This is just really the thing. This is where I get like, I'm doing the complete set. What is this one? This is The Last Planet, which had been previously titled Star Rangers, and you can see that kind of called out there in parentheses. Yeah. By Andre Norton. Like, why not? Andre Norton is super well represented amongst the ranks of the Ace Double authors. This is number D96. They were numbered at this time. You get a sense of how old it is because the cover price was whopping 35 cents. Looks like this was published in March. Am I getting that correctly? Yes, 1955. So this is inching up on its 70th birthday. I mean, and when you take that right into account, right, that this book is 70 years old, it has been out there in the world. It obviously wasn't kept in a safe deposit box or whatever. The fact that it exists at all says something, and you gotta just be okay, right? That there's going to be some condition issues, unless you really want to spend your entire life and a lot of money on your Ace Double collection. But this is Last Planet. Previously titled It Is Complete and Unabridged. It always scares me when a publisher feels they need to say that, because that means that some of theirs are abridged, and I know I have one at least. It's called The 1,000-Year Plan, and it's actually Foundation. It's an abridged version of Foundation by Isaac Asimov. So what is that all about? This was originally published as Star Rangers by Harcourt Brace and Company in 1953. And if you don't believe me, you'll see that I was reading that from the book itself. The cover artist was Harry Barton. There's a name that I am not familiar with. Harry Barton. And on the flip side, the cover artist is listed, at least out on ISFDB, as Bernard Barton. I don't know if that's the same person. It might be. But first of all, let's take a look at Last Planet. Oh, this robot. Right. Oh, this is why. This is why the Ace Doubles. Like, look at that. Spacemen and this like kind of ruined city. Yeah, right? What's going on there? The Last Planet with this bug-eyed robot. Fantastic. On the flip side, and it does literally flip, right? So if you haven't seen Ace Doubles before, like you're reading Last Planet and it's like super good. Oh, Andre Norton action. It's by far the longest of the two books here. And you're reading 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 and you're watching a super long YouTube video for no reason. And then you struggle with the pages that are a little bit stuck together because they had gotten wet at some point. And then you're like, oh, what's this? An upside down list of other... What the heck? No, that means that you have to flip it over and start reading A Man Obsessed by Ellen E. Nurse. This is also a complete novel. I think it's generous to call it a novel, since it is what? In this tiny little paperback form, it is 127 pages. So that's A Man Obsessed, and this is The Last Planet. So definitely most of the book is Andre Norton, but Ellen E. Nurse, also one of those authors, who's kind of really faded into, well, he has, it's really honestly faded into obscurity, but is all over the Ace Doubles. I've read some of his stuff and it's terrific. He's just an author that should be rediscovered. This is A Man Obsessed. Apparently, it's a surgeon obsessed with showgirls. Get the guy to Vegas. Just get him to Vegas. Manhunt in a nightmare future. So, like, is this a surgeon who was transported 70 years into the future to the Las Vegas Strip? Because that's possible. I don't know anything about it. It doesn't matter. He hunted horror through a manic world. Ace Doubles goes into my collection. I had written them down somewhere. Very few. First thing I did when I got it out of the package and everything, it was in a plastic sleeve, which I ripped taking it out, but I have some more and it'll be bagged and put on the shelf. I also put it on my spreadsheet because I have to have a spreadsheet. You're looking at the one that is organized by number, right? The number there, D96. I also have a version saved where it's alphabetized by author, and then one where it is organized by year, or which is really the date. And you can see that sort of 5-digit thing or a 6-digit thing that I do, which is the year and then the month, so that will go in chronological order. I'm a nerd. And so are you if you're watching this. The February 2025 book haul continues. Oh my. In heaven, let's try not to do that again. Okay, everybody, I look a fright. Do I look a fright? Another windstorm. Up all night with the dog, with myself, stressing out. Fence fell down. In the spectrum of problems, it's not, when the wind dies down, my son and I will go out there. We'll kind of clean up what's there, get a sense of what's usable, make a plan, order materials, fix the fence. Anyway. What a great time for this book to come in the February of 2025 book haul. This was sitting in the mailbox for a couple days because you know what? I don't know. I can't make any more excuses. Arrived on February 22nd today. I am shooting this on the 25th, but let's say this came in because it was received by my mailbox on the 22nd of February 2025. This is Not the End of the World by Hannah Ritchie, which I saw out there. It was on my list, and I saw it on my list, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I could use a little Not the End of the World right now. My fence falling down in a windstorm is not the end of it. That's not. We know that's not what I'm talking about. Obviously, this was written before the current situation, we'll call it, here in the United States of America, but not too much before. This is 2024 by Hannah Ritchie, Penguin Random House, UK. And basically, this is about, yes, these things are real, right? Climate change is actually real, etc. Is it like we're all just doomed? Like that's it? Florida is going to disappear into the ocean, which is, I think for a lot of people, it's kind of like, if you're a Floridian, I'm just, it's not you. It's the other Floridians. But this, basically looks at the sort of doom and gloom that's happening and says, it's bad, right? But these are fixable bads. These are things that there's something we can do. It says surprising facts, dangerous myths, and hopeful solutions for our future on planet Earth. One of the problems that we have on planet Earth is that no single human being can actually say the word myths. But here she's going to, just in the cover copy, I'm just reading the cover copy because that's why you come here. To have the cover copy of books read to you by a professional. Bill Gates jumps into this stuff because Bill Gates, for all what we are going through in this country, thanks to some tech billionaires, Bill Gates is out there, and he's not like a superhero, but he's out there spending a lot of money to try to do some good. So let's give a little bit of props to Bill Gates, who said about this book, I hope people around the world read this book, understand our planet isn't a lost cause, and get inspired to help fix it. Well, that's what I'm talking about, right? Yes, it's all real. Yes, we really did screw up the atmosphere. We really did that. It's really happening. Is this windstorm that just affected me last night some sign of a global climate catastrophe? Yeah, it gets windy in the Pacific Northwest. There's mountains, there's the ocean, there's air that spins around, stuff like that. The triple bomb cyclone was definitely worse, and it was definitely a sign. So, what do we do about that, right? Well, I'm hoping that Hannah Ritchie is going to be able to tell me what to do about that, right? And now, of course, I'm just this guy. I'm basically a freelance editor, and I write stuff, and I write poetry and stuff. I do not have hundreds of billions of dollars like Bill Gates does to put into. I'm going to fix the sewage system in, you know, wherever. So what I'm hoping from this book is tell me what can I do. Regular guy, right, who is not wealthy, who can't just take the rest of my life to do volunteer work and stuff. Tell me what I can do. Anyway, this is Phil's hopeful, kind of desperate move for February of 2025. A book called Not the End of the World, because it's not the end of the world. We'll Well, February 25th, obviously the day of me shooting YouTube videos. Yes, I'm wearing the same t-shirt. George Takei lives. Yes, it's the same day. And I was outside. I'm not a believer in the fence thing. We'd gone out to look at the fence, doing some stuff. And the mailman drove up and he gave me 2 packages. And I was like, oh, what? Because I knew what they were. They were my eBay orders. I don't remember which ones I ordered first. It doesn't matter. So I've been slightly curtailing the kind of just wild spree of book buying. And I'm starting to concentrate on collections where I'm trying to, sort of finish some things off. I am so close to finishing the Ace Double collection. I ordered another one that I did not yet have. And here it is. Empire of the Atom by A.E. Van Vogt. Love this. All right, let's get that nice and close so y'all can see the great Ace Double. Amazing artwork. This is, there's a hair in it. We will forgive hair from eBay sellers. This was 1956. It looks like it's probably a fix-up because he's crediting here. I might as well just show you that. Yeah. Well, 1956. Stories from Astounding in 1946 and 47. That is extremely normal, right? For this era. Like, hey, you got those short stories. Do you want to kind of whip those into a short novel? And he did. Empire of the Atom. Right. One more for the Ace Double collection. I'm close. I am close, y'all. I am close to a complete collection of Ace science fiction doubles. On the other side, Space Station #1. My God. Imagine writing science fiction, right, in a period where your book could be called Space Station #1, and people are like, cool. That is just a title that you're not going to see. This is Frank Belknap Long. Also, this is 1957. So that means that this book was published in 1957. I'll look it up and I'll make sure that it goes into the collection in the proper place, in the proper order. Let's see. In this case, it looks like they're both about the same length, if it matters, and to me it does not. So this was a condition issue that the eBay seller was open about and had a picture of. I really don't want to make it worse, where you can see that the spine is coming apart there, right? That's a good angle of it. That can and will be glued. That is 100% fixable. And once that is fixed, this is actually in tremendous condition for a book from 1957, right? What are we talking about there? 68 years or something. I mean, what else can I say, right? You got the Roman Legionnaire there. You've got the sort of spaceship thing happening. You got the tank. It's like everybody's getting together to fight the war. And then Space Station #1. It's the first one. It's the first space station. On the same day. So, I've been collecting the A.E. Van Vogt Lensman series and the Skylark series, specifically in these pyramid editions, which I believe they are the same, right? They have very similar kind of numbers, these X numbers, and they are 60-cent cover price. And they certainly have the same sort of title treatment. Not exactly the same. You can see variations in there's a little box. The box is slightly different. The box is there. The box is smaller. So, the spines are different. But here they are all pictured on the back too. So still need a couple more of those, and got this one, Gray Lensman by A.E. Van Vogt. So Pyramid, not necessarily like the greatest in terms of cover art. I don't know if they were just not paying or like what was going on. But we got this guy here, obviously slightly disconcerted by whatever that thing is. Space Duel to the Death. I'm in with the Space Duel to the Death. All you have to do is tell me that inside here, Space Duel to the Death. Pyramid book, 60 cents. I don't know if I'm going to get accurate information in terms of how old this book is from inside here. This is copyright 1951. That was when E.E. Doc Smith actually wrote or first published the book. The Fantasy Press edition published in 1951, and this pyramid, it's a pyramid edition, was published in October of 1965. Oh, I was like 1 year old. And it's purple. So that goes in with all the rest of these. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to have it. I'm excited to keep collecting these. I'm excited that I was able to find, right? So you can see that this book is pictured on the back of that book. I've said before that when I collect a series, I don't necessarily get all like loony about them being, I'm never really that concerned about first editions or anything like that. I just want the actual reading material. And then every once in a while, I'm like, I kind of want them to look the same or feel like they're kind of the same edition. I don't know why. And I don't know why. It's just one of the things that make me me. So now I've got that. I'm trying to get back to work. I didn't do all the research necessarily, which would have taken me a minute or so. No, I didn't do it. In terms of how many more of these I need, but not very many. They're not like super long series. One thing you can see here is what spine fading does. I don't know if that was faded or if was that or the same color. Anyway, but still good condition, decent condition for a book that's 60 years old and 59 years old, 60 years old, and there we have it. February 25th, 2025. This has to be the last video I make today. I got actual stuff to do. I got stuff to do. I actually have really stuff that has to actually I should really actually get to that. Okay, everybody, this is it. The last segment of the February 2025 book haul. This is February 28th, the library sale. Oh, yeah. Friday and Saturday. I was there half an hour early, standing in line with the other amazing nerds to support our local library by buying books from the Friends of the Library. And that money goes to a good cause. So if you're thinking, ooh, you bought something on February 28th, I donated money to my local library on February 28th, and I am damn proud to have done it. I spent $71. Let's take a look at what $71 can buy from your local library sale, keeping in mind that the last book I'm going to show you cost $50. Okay? So everything you're about to see altogether was $21. Let's go. In more or less no particular order. And here's, there's just the tables everywhere, stacked full of stuff, lots of people there, which was great. I love to see a ton of people bringing their kids, lots of children's books there for sale and stuff. And so, I run to the sci-fi section. There really wasn't a lot there, but I went deep. I always go deep at the library sale. Saw this gorgeous little book here, right? Poems and Prose by John Donne. This is and let me apologize as I interrupt myself ahead of time. I'm going to bump the tripod here. I'm working on the table setup here. Yes, I know I need to refinish my table. Give me a break. So I'm in a little bit of an awkward space, but you're okay. We're okay. This is the Everyman's Library Pocket Poems Edition from 1995, Poems and Prose by John Donne. Look, I always say, it's a very handsome. This is a handsome book. How handsome that is. Gorgeously put together. Very, very small. You can see my hand. It's a tiny little book. Gorgeous, right? Foiled. This kind of two-color treatment there. Very expensive, right? They spent some money to make this nice. It's got the ribbon thing, which I'm not, that's not like, I bought it because of the ribbon or anything like that, but just great. John Donne, not a poet, a poet that I'm aware of because I am the product of a liberal arts education. But I've never read any of his stuff. So, John Donne, this is going back, right? This is going back. This book was published in this form, obviously, in 1995. So that's already 30 years old, and for a 30-year-old book, look how perfect it is. Just like pristine, like it just came off the press. John Donne, though, lived between 1572 and 1631. So we're going back in time here for the actual content itself. But again, a handsome book. And this is the stuff that I know that the kind of antiquarian collectors don't like. But this is exactly why I love old books and why I don't do anything ever to damage this kind of provenance. This was $12.95, so this was probably a holiday gift to someone. What a nice thing to give somebody for Christmas or whatever. And it says, "Dearest Catherine, thou art so truth that thoughts of thee to make dreams truths. Thoughts of thee, that thoughts of thee suffice to make dreams truths. Love, Michael." Is that the sweetest thing you've ever seen in your life right there? Everyone watching this now just wishes that they were Catherine. And then, of course, 30 years later, it just is for sale on a folding table at the library. But this is great, though. And it's hard to just see this book and just how beautifully it was rendered. Real effort was made to put these very, very, very old poems into this very just lovely, entirely readable package. Just looks terrific. Everyman's Library Pocket Poets. Now I want to collect them all in here. This is also available in Everyman's Library Pocket Poets. All the sort of usual suspects are here. There's Lord Byron, Emily Dickinson, Keats, Edgar Allan Poe. That's cool. Shakespeare, whatever. And then it gets to the bottom, which is a little bit weird. Animal poems, erotic poems, friendship poems, love poems, and prayers. Okay. Is it me, or does that feel like the sort of a standard outline for a Hallmark Channel original movie? No? All right. John Donne. Handsome little hardcover. I don't know what I paid for that. It should be. Oh, there's schmutz everywhere. It should be $2, I think. The paperbacks were $1, except for this one. They will put these little tags in here that say vintage and then the year. $3 I paid for Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. I read plays. I know. I'm weird that I do that. You don't read plays? You should read plays. You should read everything. 1959 Dramatic Publishing Company edition. This cost me $3. No problem. This was published in Chicago. And it's just, slim little play here. And look at this. The royalty fee for one performance of this play by amateurs is $50. So if you have $50 and can go back to 1959, you can put on an amateur production of Look Back in Anger. I've never seen that before, but that's really super cool. Here's another thing that I have never seen in a play that I have ever read, right? And in its published, commercial book form. They're actually providing, did John Osborne draw this himself, right? A design for the set. So you don't even have to put that in for your amateur production, right? That's no extra charge with your $50. Look Back in Anger, I don't know, right? Just the kind of stuff like that little gorgeous thing needs to come home with me, right? I'm keeping that, and I am going to read it. And I'm going to keep the little tag because that's how I roll. A lot of these library book sales, there's the big tables full of stuff. I just grab stuff that looks the slightest bit interesting, right? Paperbacks for $1. For instance, Graham Greene's A Gun for Sale. Don't know anything about this at all. Obviously, I've heard of Graham Greene. This is a much more recent Penguin edition. This is in no way collectible or anything like this. So again, I'm buying books that I intend to read. Nothing in here was, I'm going to resell that on Amazon. This is worth this and this. I could get that for it. None of that is true. I bought this copy of A Gun for Sale because I found it to be interesting and I intend to read it, right? So there you go. Certainly interesting enough for $1, right? Is this Graham Greene writing, it's, a murder mystery, right? Or some kind of thriller. Is he ashamed of that, or was he ashamed of that in the 30s when it was originally published? Because it says A Gun for Sale and entertainment. Watch out, everybody. This is not one of the smarty pants Graham Greenes. This one's an entertainment. I love that way, only the literati, right? Like it's a warning label, like it's a trigger warning, like, you might be entertained. Watch out for that. All right. But there it is, A Gun for Sale. The money he receives in payment for the murder is made up of stolen notes. Like you pay for a murder with clean money. Seriously? I don't know. I pay for all my murders in crypto. I'm joking, of course. Annie Proulx, and I'm 92.6% sure that's how you pronounce her name. This is Close Range Wyoming Stories. Of course, it calls out Brokeback Mountain on the cover. So here's another author like Graham Greene that I've, of course, heard of, but have never read, which is my cross to bear. This is now I have this book and I can fix that, of course, right? Which is why we buy books, because we have heard the author is great. And in this case, I have seen the movies, a couple of movies at least, that were adapted from her writing. In particular, I really am a big fan of the movie The Shipping News. I think it's got Kevin Spacey in it, right? So, which is why you probably don't see it as much out there at streaming anymore. Don't cancel the entire movie because of one guy. I think that's terrible, but okay. I really, really like that movie. And and I know, am I weird? I don't think that I'm weird, and that does actually inspire me to read the author who wrote the book that movie was based on, right? Maybe not that book, but if they could make something that interesting out of an Annie Proulx novel, I need to go see what Annie Proulx is all about. So again, this is a collection of short stories, which includes the short story Brokeback Mountain. The book has seen better days. It was not. This is not a first edition signed, numbered, or blobbity blobbity blobbity. This is the Scribner just printed in numbers that they could sell. This is a 14th printing. So, right. This again, I bought this to read her stuff, not to somehow try to make a profit off my $1. I mean, I probably could, but I'm not, what are we even talking about? There's some tricky shadows. You're going to hear fans going on. You might hear the really loud refrigerator behind me. It sounds like savings. It was not an expensive refrigerator. If you want to see what stories are in here, that will show you that. But again, right? Great condition. No, it's fine. There was a little bit of a boo-boo situation here with some folded pages. It's already more or less fixed. Close range, Wyoming Stories. I did bump the tripod. I told you I was going to do that, so you can't be mad at me, by Annie Proulx. Here's a book that I read when I thought it was when I was in high school, but clearly it wasn't, because it looks like this was published after I was not in high school anymore. But I read it at a time and when I was much younger. And I remember really thinking, there's something going on here, right? There's something going on with this book. Like there's some sort of secret thing here. And I really liked it. I really wanted to, but I remember not being able to grab a hold of it completely. And I've been thinking about it recently I don't even know why, apropos of nothing. And thought, you know what, if there's going to be I so very, very rarely reread books. And I thought, you know what, if I find a copy of that might be one I want to reread now that I'm, this much more mature and robust intellectual, as opposed to however old I was when I read this originally and kind of, frankly, didn't get it. I'm trying to be polite to myself and saying I didn't entirely absorb it, but I don't know what it was. Did it hit me in a kind of ADHD situation that didn't work for me? I don't know, right? But I am thinking of rereading the Illuminatus trilogy by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. And look at how perfect, just like perfect-ish, not, perfect, but perfect-ish condition. It does look like somebody has read it already before, and that's fine. I was at a used book sale and not a new book sale. It's a dense book, right? It collects the entire trilogy. This is sort of, right, all of the conspiracy theories packed into one. And it's sort of a trip through what if everything that people have made up and puzzled over various centuries were real, with, tongue firmly in cheek. So it collects the Eye in the Pyramid, the Golden Apple, and Leviathan. A reread ahead for the Illuminatus trilogy, and this time I will understand it. I promise. And if I don't, I'll lie and say that I did. No, I won't. There's no reason for lying. Those were the paperbacks. And then the really handsome John Donne book. These were the hardcovers, $2 each. So is that a failing on my part that I see winner of the Pulitzer Prize and I'm like, well, okay. Having never heard of Stephen Donne, the poet. I don't know. But look at this. It appears to be in basically unread condition. Oh, something fell out of it, right? That's always fun. It did win the Pulitzer Prize. It is a collection of poetry. I write and read poetry. In here is a little piece of note paper from Windmill Inns of America with a nationwide 800 number. Never heard of them. 38, 73, 93, and 109. I'm keeping that. Does that mean that the poems on those pages are of particular interest? I think maybe. And, well, read while staying at one of the Windmill Inns of America. Are we going with that? Maybe. Otherwise, the book is fantastic, in terrific, like new condition. You know, it can't be a first edition if they're already bragging about the winning the Pulitzer Prize. It does appear to be the second printing. But otherwise, just gorgeous, and poetry by a clearly celebrated poet that I have never heard of. Where the hell have I been? This was published by Norton in 2000. The prize itself was awarded in 2001. I'm keeping the note. I always keep these, right? Do I put that on page 30? 38 is the first one. Dog weather. In it goes. I'm bumping the thing. I told you I was going to bump the thing. You can't be mad at me for bumping the thing. We're going to Jules Bert these right over here. And you know what I mean. Yes, Jules Bert has become a verb. As with Annie Proulx, I'm a big fan of at least one movie. That movie is Little Children, adapted from a novel by Tom Perrotta. There's no reason not to grab this then. The Abstinence Teacher. What do we know about this? I don't really know a lot. He is the New York Times bestselling author of Little Children. We knew that. St. Martin's 2007. Like Little Children, this kind of looks like it gets into the seedy underbelly of American suburbia. Having grown up myself in a seedy American suburb, I get it. Yes, the book has been read. You can usually tell if a book has been read because there's a certain amount of like finger dirtiness right in the middle as people are kind of, right, you're reading and you're like, da, 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 da. Oh my God, the suburb is full of like freaks. This is ridiculous, right? But your thumb is always there. What more can I say? Tom Perrotta, another, like Annie Proulx, author that I have seen the movies and thought, ooh, that's interesting. I need to start reading that author. You may or may not hear me flipping over my notes. I'm not really doing this entirely from notes, but again. Let's say that the theme continues, because this is actually true. I have never read anything by Cormac McCarthy. Can that possibly be true? Being a 60-year-old white American who reads voraciously and collects books and lives in a house with like 3,000 or 4,000 books in it, that I've never read Cormac McCarthy. I've never read Cormac McCarthy. I have seen movies based on Cormac McCarthy books. I can't say that I love the movie The Road. That really triggered my anti-post-apocalypse feelings, which run pretty deep, even though, just like my anti-vampire bias, I can be swayed by a really good post-apocalyptic story. But most of the time I'm kind of like, I know, man, the biker shall inherit the earth. No, he won't. But No Country for Old Men, right? Wow. Now, of course, we've learned things, or there have been accusations that we have heard things very lately about Cormac McCarthy that makes him now posthumously problematic. Right? What are we going to do? So, I don't know how you feel about that. And I don't know how I feel about that. I do feel good giving $2 to the Friends of the Library. So there's that. Obviously, I'm never going to support anyone doing the stuff that he is said to have done. And I'm not here defending this guy I've never met, and literally an author I just said I've never read. But It's clear that he's got the skills. Is this a book in the? This is a Book of the Month Club main selection, but this appears not to be the book club edition. But again, I'm not edition hunting. This isn't like, can I resell this or whatever. What's in here? Ex Libris, Sun Valley, Idaho. All right. I live in the state of Washington, right, in the Seattle area. So Idaho is one of our neighboring states. So it's not entirely weird that we would see something from Idaho. I don't know. I've never read Cormac McCarthy. Is it? Oh, no, it is. Uh-oh. So this is volume 2 of the Border trilogy. So I'm supposed to read All the Pretty Horses first. I did not know that. What are we going to do about that? I don't know. I can't say I'm going to run right out and buy that, and because I'm not going to read this right now. Don't you hate that, right? When you buy a book, I always end up doing that. And then it's like, well, now I have to have all of them. I don't know. In the comments, though, right, go ahead. Tell me about how we feel about Cormac McCarthy. How do we feel about that kind of posthumous accusation? I don't know from what I've heard that there's any reason to disbelieve it. Are we separating the art from the artist? Has enough time gone by? I don't probably think so. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I'm not trying to diminish anything or make something out of anything. Please feel free to sound off in the comments should you have a strong opinion. Stephen King, right? $2 hardcovers, why not? In the last video where I went to one of the last book sale, I picked up a couple of Stephen King books. One was like that first edition Firestarter, which was very exciting. These are not like collectible things at all. But I've heard from a lot of people for years and years and years and years, decades and decades and decades, hundreds of years before the dawn of history, that Dolores Claiborne is one of the great Stephen King novels. Yeah, I have not read it. But it just seems to pop up on a lot of people's favorite Stephen King novels lists, right? And that tends to be enough for me, right? As an old Stephen King fan to go like, well, if, Stephen King readers say it's one of his best, then let's go. Yeah. Look how young he is there. So handsome and studious looking in his author photo. This is, I don't know that this is, again, I bought this to read it because I like Stephen King a lot. Have been reading Stephen King. Oh, look at that. Nice, right? For years and decades and decades and years and years and years and years and years. This is the second printing. I paid $2 for it. I doubt that you will ever find it for much more than that. Again, it's not we're not doing investment strategies here. It's very, very nice condition for being as old as it is. It does look like this was a UK edition there, right? Because it's got the £14.99. And I don't see, oh, there it is. There's the US $23.50 in Canada up there. I don't know. Well, anyway, who's this? Viking was obviously selling this on both sides of the pond. Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King, and here's the other one. This is a practically brand new book. Just After Sunset, short story collection. Love Stephen King. Love Stephen King's short stories in particular. I love, and the novels too. It's all love. Stephen King is one of the good ones. He just really is. This is the first printing of the Scribner 2008 hardcover, but let's be honest, it was printed by the Zillions and bought by Stephen King's Legion of Fans. So collectible? No. I paid $2. And I just to see, I looked it up on eBay, and it looks like they go for like $5. And let's be honest, I sell books every once in a while on eBay, and I found that anything under $5 is just so not worth the effort of putting it in an envelope and all this, to get it to you. So honestly, I think it's just fair to say, minimally, if you're going to buy a book on eBay, it's going to be $5. plus if you're here in the US, plus the media mail postage, it might be like $3-4, right? That's about what I pay for it. That's what I sell them for. If you're like, oh, I want that book for 99 cents, well, then what is the point of that? I mean, if it takes me 20 minutes to earn what will end up being like 47 cents, I just can't. I can't. I got mouths to feed. Okay? Calm down. Stephen King, Just After Sunset, the stories. This book looks like it has not ever been cracked. Like, did somebody get this for a gift or whatever? Oh, thanks. Honey, that's great. And then never read it? I don't know. Here is the table of contents. I like to show those in short story. Anthologies and collections, just in case. The shadows are hard, but I think you can still see that. The Cat from Hell. I love it. All good. I need to start reading Stephen King again. I've said that before. I'll say it again, and I'm going to start doing it, I promise. Just After Sunset. Delighted to have in pristine first edition. Why not? Who doesn't love these Avenel editions? Look at that chunk of a book. Oh, dear God, I can hardly lift it. Collected stories of O. Henry. Believe it or not, this is Avenel, this company that does this kind of stuff. They do like omnibus editions and these big collections of stories. And this is the kind of stuff that back in the day you would see like in the front section of Barnes & Noble in with the remainders, right? And these were pretty cheap. You know, a lot of public domain kind of stuff. But what the hell, right? Oh, Henry. I mean, great short stories. And with 24 illustrations, the book is in terrific shape. Somebody, again, bought it, probably never read it, maybe read a couple, 2-3 stories. It looks like it's terrific. Fine. There's the man himself. Oh, Henry. Love the stash. Love the stash. It's all about the stash. Love to have the dust jacket on this one too. You don't find a lot of those. 1979. That's not too long ago if you're an old man like me. Edited by Paul J. Horowitz. We see. And look at this list of stories. It just in teeny weeny, like, what is that? Like maybe 9-point type. And then page 2 and 3. And then page 4 and a little bit onto page 5, like crazy, right? That many. There's a list of illustrations. Do you want to flip through it and see if we can find one of these so-called illustrations? I think if there's 24 illustrations, did it say, inside of a book that's this ginormous? Oh, there they are. We got some gentlemen talking there. That would put Frank Frazetta to shame. The procession was accustomed to halt before a small brick office from the Emancipation of Billy. Oh, let Billy go. Please let Billy go. I got to find one more. You know what? If you have turned off by now, the people who have turned off the video by now, like, what is this guy? Why do we care? They don't belong here in the first place. They don't. Please forgive me, Mr. Givens. Won't you? The Princess and the Puma. There's a story worth reading right there. The Princess and the Puma. Forget about it. Look at this. Got some cowboys happening. The horned frog sat upon the shoulder of its long, quiet master. That caused my refrigerator to start running. That's how hot that was. All right. I don't know, the collected stories of O. Henry. What do you do with a book like this, right? You tell me. I'm actually asking for what you do, not what I should do or what I do. Do you just go like, all right, let's go. We're going to O. Henry it for the next, 3 months, or I don't know how long it's going to take you to read this. I'm just going to read 212 stories by O. Henry, all in order. Let's go. As, what was his name? Paul J. Horowitz decided that they go in. Or do you just go like, hey man, you know what? I'm in that O. Henry mood. I'm just going to grab this at random, or just read the next one, or read one at random. Do you do that kind of thing? Do you pick it up and put it down? Or do you just binge? This would be a binge read, right? This is exactly what this is. Avenel Publishers, the binge reading outlet for this kind of stuff. I don't know. I just love having this. Oh, Henry, 212 stories. Neal Stephenson. It's Neal Stephenson. Hold on. I need to have someone help me lift this. Oh, God, it's too heavy. I can't. Oh, kerplunk. Did you hear that? It broke the table. What's going on there? You know what that is? That says that it's a remainder. It says to the bookstore, don't try to sell this for full price. It said nothing to the library sale people. They are terrific. It was $2. But that means that whoever bought this and then donated it to the library probably it's YouTube, okay? You want professional, go watch like Anderson Cooper or something. He knows how to blurb, 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 blurb. The person who bought this and then donated it to the library paid like $5.99 for it in like 2010. Okay, but this is indeed the first edition and in swell condition. So go me, right? Again, am I going to resell it? No, I'm going to. Oh my God, am I going to read this gigantic book, as big as that O. Henry collection is? This one dwarfs it. Oh God, it's just so huge. It's so heavy. How do you even read these? Is it me, or it's like, am I just old and I'm kind of losing some of my hand strength? But you know, you're reading and you're holding it, and then you're trying to find it, and it starts to bite into your, like, what do you call this right here? Like this part where that always gets hurt by things, and it's really bad. And anyway, this is the first edition, hardcover of, and I've seen other booktubers struggle with the title here, 2008, Neal Stephenson, Anathema. That's what I think, right? Like anathema. What do you right? This is where the comments come in. Tell me I'm pronouncing it wrong, and it's anathema, anathema. Them. Oh, for God's sake. Author of the New York Times bestseller, Cryptonomicon, which I have a copy of. I also have a copy of Snow Crash. Snow Crash in particular is one of those, like, how have you not read that science fiction novels? I did read The Diamond Age in 1997. I remember that for sure because I was reading it during the process of moving to Seattle. And I really liked it then. But for some reason then just kind of stalled out and didn't read anything else by Neal Stephenson. So let's fix that, since I now own 3 other gigantic doorstopper Neal Stephensons. You tell me. I have Cryptonomicon. Let's put this over in this side, and then I can put the other covers, because we're doing professional television production at the absolutely highest level. Do I start, or restart reading Neal Stephenson with this one? Anathema, he believes it is pronounced, or Cryptonomicon, or Snow Crash. I now own copies of all 3 of those. Make use of the comment section and help me. And just help me know that I'm not just screaming into the void. I know I am. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick pause here. All of these books that you saw just now, right? Oh, 2 big Stephen King books, one of first edition. Oh, the big, giant Anthem, whatever. Neal Stephenson, we got all this stuff. The Illuminatus trilogy. We got our Problematic McCarthy. We got Tom Perrotta, everybody. Pulitzer Prize winning poetry. $21. This is why you go to the library sale. You're about to find out, like, really why you go to the library sale. Remember I said I spent $71. This is the first 21. I almost missed this one. We're going to pause for a second, take a deep breath. Don't go away. On my way out of the library sale, February 28th of 2025, took like one quick look at the science fiction table there. There really wasn't anything that either I didn't have or hadn't read like a million years ago, or just nothing really there for me. Took one quick look again through some of the other vintage stuff, which normally is kind of, well, it's interesting because it's super old, but right, if you've seen last month's video, that weird little art book from 1849 that I found that was cool, right? Because it was so old, but otherwise wouldn't be something like, oh, I need to know all about these, whatever 19th century American painters, although, why not? But anyway, so quick look through there, and just as if by magic, hold every goddamn thing. Hold every goddamn thing. I put my hand on it, and I started to breathe heavy. I started to breathe weird, and we've talked about that. When a guy my age starts to breathe funny, you need to do something, you need to intervene. I started having palpitations. I palpitated. And I will admit that I was like, Dear God in Heaven, that's the first edition Dune. Then I picked it up and I was like, ooh, that feels small, right? Like trim size small. Can you see me in the cover? Look at that. Hi, y'all. It's me in the kitchen and back. Right away, I thought, no, I don't know. But I wanted to. I'm admitting to everyone, and you would be the same way. So don't even start with me. I did it, right? I mean, I cracked it. Because what is this, like a $20,000 book, right? For $50. And I was like, I'm just buying it. I don't even care, because whatever it is, I want this. I want this oh so bad. I was just like short of breath, just like, oh my God. So I give this giant bag of books here, very heavy, all the stuff you just saw, to the volunteer there. Older lady, super sweet. I was like, oh, I think I found some great stuff. And there was a much younger woman standing behind her, kind of helping her sort stuff and everything, and helping her lift the giant goddamn Neil Stephenson book, pardon me. And she was just like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, is that a first edition? I said, I don't know, but I'm willing to bet $50 that it is. And she got a good laugh over that. And then bless her heart, the lady was like, oh yeah, that's on HBO Max now. Have you seen that? Yes, honey, yes, I have. It's lovely. The movie was it was good, right? It kicked the shit out of David Lynch. Let's just go with that. I read this when I was like 13 years old, maybe, not even, 11, 12. And immediately was just like, this is the greatest book of all time. I reread it again a few years ago in this edition that I had bought when I was briefly a member of the briefly in existence Quality Paperback Book Club. This is the 25th anniversary edition. I believe it was from would have been 1980, something like that or whatever. And, 1985 or how old is it? Would it be 1990? We don't care. And I just reread it from this copy, which is fine. This is another one I looked up on eBay just out of curiosity, and I don't know, maybe somebody give me $10 for it. It says First Putnam Edition 1984 on here, and you can tell it's a book club edition. It says BOMC, that's Book of the Month Club, offers recordings and compact discs. You could get the audiobook on compact disc. God bless us all. So this was nice. I mean, it's fine. It's not even nice. It's just, there it was. I read it again. I was like, you know what? This book is freaking phenomenal. It just really is. I don't know. It's fashionable all of a sudden to be like, Dune's really dumb and colonialist. It's like, yeah, it's spectacular. It is, whether you want to believe it or not, it is the pivot point for science fiction. It's the sort of linchpin. It is to science fiction what Lord of the Rings is to fantasy. It's a book that I've just always loved since I was a wee tot. So back to this. Did I indeed score this ridiculous, unbelievable mega find? So that first instinct that I had, that it seemed small, trim size wise, and it seemed light. And I thought, the first thing that flashed into my mind, right, even the deckled edges, I was like, it's like a book club edition. Is that a book club? I think that might be a book club edition. I didn't want it to be. Of course, I wanted it to be like the real one. So I did go home. And of course, having paid $50, which I'm delighted to have spent, this is indeed a book club edition. This is not a crazy, ridiculous find. It's a good find. Did I pay the right price for this? Yes. I did not effectively steal, right, from the nice people at the Friends of the Library. I think that this is a reasonable price, on the low side. $50 for this. They say 1965. This was probably, this is definitely no earlier than 1971, I think. We'll keep that. But let's take a look at it. How do I know it's a book club edition? So the original first printing, yes, Judith and Samuel Bernstein, that's going to do a little bit of conditioning problems for us, but someone put it in a Mylar sleeve, which is nice, so that, again, we have really generally very good condition dust jacket. You can see the spine fading. This is what we have talked about that a lot, obviously. Anyone who collects books will know that when the sun shines on your bookcase, that does that. This is, the original artwork and all that kind of stuff. If this was a true first edition, up here on the top corner of the inside front flap, it would say $5.95. That is not there. The original would also be in blue case material and not red. Red tells you right away, instantly, that this is a book club edition. The book club edition uses the red case material, also known as red boards. There would also be a Library of Congress catalog card data number, right? Not the whole data, but the number at least on the copyright page or the legal page here. Where this fooled some people, and so you can see somebody wrote 1965. The nice people at the library also identified it as 1965. This is the original copyright page, right? Again, sans the Library of Congress number, and just says that Frank Herbert first published it. It was first published by Chilton, and yes, it was a company that made automotive instruction manuals, repair manuals, and the greatest science fiction novel of all time. This has puzzled and perplexed and entertained book collectors, science fiction fans, and readers for 60 years. So this is not exactly 60 years old. So we know that this is a book club edition because there is no price here. Yes, and the original edition would have had sort of a little Chilton Books kind of presentation here. This also has a little code number down here, right? 1681, that also identifies this as a book club edition. I did notice when I first saw this is that's been cut off. They probably wanted to cut off the price for some reason, which happens, right? That it was kind of a remainder or something. And the whole time I'm like, I don't know if it's a book club edition because they always say book club edition somewhere on them. Well, it turns out in my I don't Google anymore. I DuckDuckGo because that's a whole other thing. But in my internet search, I did find that it would down here. It said book club edition, and somebody snipped that off. Am I saying that someone was trying to front like this was the first edition? I don't know. It almost worked on me. It worked for until I did literally seconds of research and discovered that it was indeed what I thought it was and didn't want to admit it was. But I'm happy and delighted to admit that it is indeed a book club edition. How early is this? There is no ISBN to be seen on this at all. That came into being in 1970, though the Science Fiction Book Club editions seem to have been published in this edition up till the 1980s. Sometimes the book club did have the ISBN number on there. Sometimes they didn't bother, right? This was probably offered by the book club as a facsimile edition, so they just kind of left it as is. So anyone looking at this would just kind of right away go like, there's nothing telling me that this isn't the first thing, right? It doesn't say second printing. It doesn't say whatever. It just says 1965, all rights reserved. And then down here it said book club edition. So we'll just cut that off and everything will be fine. You know, somebody will pay millions and millions for it, except that anyone who's going to spend the kind of money you're looking for from the first edition is going to do couple 2-3 minutes on the internet and know that it is a book club edition. So there it is. I have seen these out there for, what are we talking value wise, ranging from $80 to over $300. I feel good about paying $50 for it because again, these are guy on eBay trying to get $249.99 plus shipping. Did he actually get that money? Well, the listing is still there. So how do we know what a book is worth? You would have to know what it actually sold for. So again, I'm not going to sell this thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get rid of this lovely edition of Dune. And this is going to be, this old 1971, 1973, somewhere in between that and 1983. Here are the question marks in my voice. One of the ways that you can date these and be, really certain of kind of when and where it came from is by the gutter code, which we'll find here on page, page, I think, 509. Yeah. And let's see if we can do this without hurting this dust jacket, which is in the best condition it can be. Down there you see that little tiny thing. It's called a gutter code. And that's 14p. I looked everywhere. Internet Speculative Fiction Database. The photos that I'm plugging in here are coming from like FedPo, whatever. And I've looked at, like Reddit posts, all sorts of places, wherever I could find for this gutter number 14p. I cannot find it anywhere. So I have no idea what that means. There are a whole bunch of different ones, and apparently there are even more out there. I have not seen anything. So again, we're looking for comments in the comments, right? Book aficionados, book collectors, book dealers, Dune fanatics. Can you help me? I just searched and there I could not find anything. Gutter code 14p. What does that mean? How do I know how old this book is? It looks old-ish, right? Somebody has taken care of it. There's stamps on here from somewhere. Oh, I think that's just the people who make the Mylar jacket sleeves. John Schoner art. From the Library of Judith and Samuel Bernstein. God bless you. This is, don't hurt it. Come on, Phil. Really? This is the find to end the February 2025 Fantasy Authors Handbook book haul. I have been Phil. I will have this in pride of place in my library for the rest of my natural life. Book club, first edition, whenever it was actually released. I don't care. I am delighted to have donated $50 to the Friends of the Library and walked out with this spectacularly amazing book. That has been February 2025.